We will get started in just a moment. We're going to let everyone join this session. We will get started in just one more moment. We're still letting a few more people join the session. We've got a lot of people coming in. Okay, well, in the interest of time, I do want to go ahead and get started. I'm sure some more people will join us as we go along. But I want to welcome you to our info session for the online Masters in Data Science here at the University of Notre Dame. I'm Roger Woodard, I'm the program director, and I am very pleased to have with us a couple of our students, or actually a student and an alum, who are going to tell us a little bit about their experiences in the program and also take your questions. So I'd like to start off by letting our guests introduce themselves. Gina, would you like to tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself?
Happy to. Thanks, Roger. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here today. I am Gina. I'm the Director of Talent Development at the Dentsu Aegis Network, specifically for our media advertising agencies. And I am a graduate of the class of 2012 data science program.
2019.
2019, sorry, 2012, that's the last degree. 2019 is this one. Apologies, they're all running together. Time is a construct at this point, right?
Absolutely. Olivia, how about you?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm Olivia, and right now I work at AT&T as a technical program manager. And so before this, I was a software engineer. Right now, we just wrapped up classes just about a week ago, so we're very excited about graduating virtually.
And we're excited about that as well. Thank you both for being here. I appreciate you being willing to talk to people that are interested in the program. And we really are going to take about 30 minutes to talk about some questions that we have, but we also want this to be an interactive session. So we do want to answer the questions that our guests have that you may be interested in asking our students or asking me. So if you do have questions, we do ask that you put those into our Q&A icon there in Zoom. So if you would just click on that, enter the questions there. If you have questions after the session, there's a link, or sorry, an email address there, datascience@nd.edu. If you would just send those over. We want to answer any questions that you have about the program, anything that you'd like to know, and basically make sure that you get out of this what you need. So in terms of this program, if you're here in this session, I'm sure you probably know a little bit about the program already. It is a 21-month part-time program designed for working professionals. So we really are looking at a program that is intended for people that are working full-time, and our guests can tell us a little bit about their experiences with doing that and so forth. It is fully online. We hold the same high academic standards as any Notre Dame program. So we do have some pretty stringent entry requirements, and we do a lot of really hard work. So these two have gone through a lot of really tough days over the last few years, and I'll let them tell you about that. But it is really intended to prepare people for what industry needs. And that's because our program is designed with a lot of input from our industry partners. And we really did want to make sure that people were prepared to go out there and work in the field of data science. So along that line, I'd like to start off by just asking you guys a little bit about what you learned in the program and how it was structured. What kind of things did we teach you? So maybe Olivia, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, sure. So there's a lot of different content that this program covers, and it's all very thoughtful and personalized, and it's very immediately applicable. For example, I learned everything from how to do different machine learning models, like using decision trees, KNN models, random forests. I learned a lot about linear regression. So if you ever wanted to know about forecasting or different programming languages like R and Python that are extremely relevant and very foundational, then this is knowledge that you can apply immediately regardless of what role you're in and where you want to go. So for example, one thing we did this semester was we had our capstone, and we worked with a real company using their actual data, and we got to go through the entire data science process from start to finish. And it was very relevant to us because it combined everything we learned. It was helpful for a real company, and it was something we could immediately tell whether that's different people in the future we want to interview with, or it's just a good tool set to have. So I know a lot of my peers have used this in their current roles, whether they're data scientists, data engineers, or if there's different parts of how they want to apply this. All right, what about you, Gina?
No, that's great. Thanks, Olivia. I think for me, what I really learned is how to think about data, especially coming from kind of a business perspective. I didn't come from data or computer science or math. So knowing how to approach a data problem, how to think about it, how to ask the right questions, how to go through a process that's both methodical and flexible. You know, you think about the specific considerations of, you know, a client. So the capstone was a perfect example, Olivia, right? We pulled it all together and really said, okay, well, you know, this client's looking for this data analysis, but is that truly what they're looking for? Is that the right approach? So for me, it was definitely a thought process and learning the language of data. And that's exactly why I took the program.
Excellent. In terms of the courses that you had, the capstone brought it all together. You had all the programming early on and then all the other courses along the way. Could you tell us a little bit about the structure of how that's laid out and what the courses look like?
Sure. So for me, so the way I always like to think about it is in two ways, right? Of the progression of the content, but also the delivery of the content. So there's the asynchronous, so that's the online material, the kind of e-learning style that's on the portal. Then there's the classes. So I think the classes are the best part. We all get to kind of bounce ideas off each other and learn from each other, truly, because I think it's something that I didn't realize coming into the program, that the people in the program are experts in different areas and they have such a variety of backgrounds. I learned as much from them as I did from the program, Roger. So I think that can be said. But as far as the progression of the content, I think it was a logical start, right, with your programming and your basics of statistics, and then it really just did build into a lovely kind of pyramid structure. I'm a visual person, so that's how I kind of saw it. And it took all aspects, like I said, you know, thinking about data, but also it's how to do the algorithms, but it's also how do you talk about it? How do you present it from a storytelling, which I think is not something you immediately think of when you think of data science. So it all layered together very well.
Excellent. Excellent. Let's see, another question. So what's the typical week like, and how do you balance all the pieces? You've got work, you've got school, you've got your life. How do you put all that together? Anybody want to take that?
Yeah, one of the most valuable things, so I was asking different people who went through the program before I started, and one key thing that resonated for me for the entire program was to create a structured routine that really works for you. So for example, one thing that really worked for me was I would dedicate Saturday and Sunday at least 1 to 2 of those days really purely on the program. And then, for example, I would set Friday off and I wouldn't do anything class related, because on Mondays we had class, Thursdays we had class, and then there were things to do on Sunday and Wednesday. So kind of going in with a plan, it's not going to be perfect, but really helping plan will make sure that we kind of set expectations for ourselves on how we're going to dedicate the time to making the classes and work go smoothly. And also just kind of talking and having that conversation with your boss so they understand too, you're going through this program. Just kind of keep setting expectations, planning, and really going through it. And the first semester is going to be hard because it's something you kind of acclimate to, but it's something you get through together with your classmates. And I know this isn't exactly on this topic, but a lot of people go into this program wondering, oh, do I have to have an engineering background? And the answer really is no, because a lot of what you learn in this program, they'll build from your foundation and you'll learn it as you go. So you don't really have to come in here already being a pro at data science. What about you, Gina?
Yeah, seconded. I mean, because my background's business, so I'm the perfect example of that. But yeah, agreed as far as the balance goes. I think having a conversation with your family too. So, you know, letting them know that there are going to be times that you're going to have to, you know, have a nose in a laptop for a little while just to get things done. And, you know, the Monday, Thursday obviously is quite structured because you have to be on the live class. So that's pretty easy to say, I'll be busy then, but finding out a good rhythm, you know, of also just giving yourself the break when it's needed. I think we're all finding that out, right? Working from home in the current situations, that taking breaks is just as important. So having those times, like Olivia said, you know, she picked a Friday, I picked like a Sunday morning that was just for me. And I had that break because having the balance is important. And there will be unusual times. So the capstone is a full semester, but there are other projects that you need to work on for different courses that, you know, things might ramp up a little bit. And of course, finals and things like that, special circumstances. But the rhythm comes for sure. That first semester is a little rocky, but that's to be expected starting out.
Yeah, and that's something that just a couple of things to add to that. We do try to structure the program in a consistent manner so that every semester we have our live sessions in the evenings on Mondays and Thursdays, just so that you always know when that's going to be. You don't have to be thinking, okay, this semester it's on one day and the next semester it's on another. It's always on Mondays and Thursdays. We have live sessions that are in the evenings so that you can do it after work, so you're not trying to carve out part of your work day for that and so forth. In terms of balancing it all out, as our guests said, that first semester is always an adjustment. And that's something that I think everybody agrees that you kind of have to get back into the rhythm, but we are here to help with that. So one thing that we do want to stress is that we do have support networks in place and things like that. So if you have something come up, you know, if you have a big project come up at work or something like that, we do try to make sure that we are planning for it, that we're working with the students, and that we help them adjust and we communicate about those issues. So speaking of communication, we do want to make sure that we get your questions in. If you do have anything you'd like to ask of our guests or me, feel free to put that in the Q&A link. So down at the bottom of your Zoom screen, the Q&A button gives you an opportunity to plug those in. So do ask those questions. We'll get to those in just a moment. Before we get to that one, we do want to ask this one. Did you consider other programs? So, you know, we have our audience here maybe trying to choose between different possible online programs in data science. Did you think about other ones? And if so, why did you select Notre Dame?
I think as far as my background goes, I will say I did my undergraduate degree at Notre Dame. So I was on communications. So I heard about the program through some alumni communications, but I had been looking for various data science programs, and coming from a training background as for my career, I had been very familiar with opportunities online and, you know, LinkedIn Learning, places like that. But what I really wanted was, first of all, some structure, because I feel like this is such a huge, huge industry, right, of data science. How do you approach it? I appreciated the structure of Notre Dame's program and also just how holistic it was. It took in all those aspects of data science, but you know, it's not meant to go very, very deep into any one topic. It's meant to give you, as I said before, how to think about data, right? To speak that language, to talk to any range of people from non-technical to technical in this space. And also just the support. I mean, Notre Dame I think did a great job. I think you guys did a great job, Roger, of kind of adjusting from a very traditionally campus-focused school to this program that's online, that I still felt part of the Notre Dame family. We talk about that all the time, the Notre Dame family. And the support system was fabulous. Like Roger said, you know, we had things pop up. I had things pop up personally that I had to adjust for the program, and, you know, go through. It's 2 years, right? It's a large part of your life. And I think the Notre Dame support system and how they approached this was really what brought me into the family, and an opportunity to come back to Notre Dame.
Olivia, did you want to add to that?
Definitely. So for me, I chose Notre Dame because of the quality, the growth of the program, and also the alumni network and community. So this program really is world-class. It's unbeatable, and it's one of the choices that I'm most happy of making in my whole entire life. And the reason when I talk about quality so much is because not only the professors, and I'm not saying that just because you're on here too, Roger, but really each of them are really engaging. They care about you, and they're highly knowledgeable in their field of expertise. Like, I remember in one of my classes, it was an ethics class, the professor went and had these conversations with a lot of also other world-class professors on ethics and recorded that and used it as part of our material. So everything you learn here is very real-world applicable. And like Sam and Courtney, they've been on many calls with all the students all the time, and they'll be there when you email them, whether it's Sunday when your homework is due and you really need help on homework, or you have something that's late. So they're really there for you all the way, and they really care about you. The staff and faculty is beyond amazing, and they'll go the extra 1,000 miles for you. And in terms of the alumni network and community, a lot of people know Notre Dame. It's a really strong brand and very credible one. So regardless of where you want to go in your career, the Notre Dame family is really there for you. And I know in terms of growth, for a lot of my peers, it directly led to job offers and promotions. And for me personally, it helped me get a promotion at work. And so I know for a lot of people, regardless of the field they're in, I saw a lot of people change jobs or get into their dream companies because of it, or getting job offers. And for me, I've had several companies reach out to via LinkedIn. So this program really helps you with your career too.
Nice. Thank you. Again, we really do try to make this something different than a lot of online programs by making it a little bit more personal. So one other thing, just in terms of another issue that we wanted to address before we take your questions, we did want to mention that we know it's a unique situation with the COVID-19 scenario and all the things that are going on. And that has made it very difficult for people to go out and take the GRE. And that's one of our typical requirements of the application, is for people to take the GRE. Given the situation this year, we did want to mention that this year the admissions committee will be looking at applications without those GRE results, even though in the past we would not have done that. And that's simply because of the unique situation that we're in. That'll be true for this year. It's probably will go back to requiring it next year. But just a word about what we're looking for in those applications. We want to know about the individuals. We want to know that you will be able to succeed in the program. As Olivia mentioned, you don't have to have a deep engineering background. You can come from a lot of different kinds of backgrounds. But what we're looking for is evidence that you're able to succeed in the courses. As we mentioned, they're pretty rigorous sometimes. And that's something that we don't want to bring someone in and have them not do well. So that's something that we just wanted to mention and make sure that everyone's aware. So with that, we do want to take your questions, and we've got some queued up in the Q&A box, but if you have not asked your question yet, there is a Q&A button down at the bottom of your screen in Zoom. Go ahead and click on that, and we will try to get to those questions. So let me bring up the other screen here. Give me a moment so I can see what we've been asking about. And just as a reminder, we may not get through all of our questions here today, But if your question doesn't get answered, we will try to reach out to you. And if you didn't get a chance to ask it, please feel free to send it to datascience@nd.edu. Give me just a moment here.
And as you're doing that, Roger mentioned, we're all on Zoom here. So we do use Zoom as part of the program. And I was just talking to Roger before we started how that has really served me well, obviously all the data pieces, but kind of a silver lining as well to this current situation that we're pros on Zoom communication. So I've actually brought that to my agency, the Dentsu Aegis Network, and we're teaching everyone how to use Zoom. So there are definitely other aspects of this program that you don't expect to get out of it. And I think it's such a unique program that there are little nuggets that you can take away as well.
Yeah, and that's, one of the things we mentioned was communication, and that's such a big part of data science, is not only getting results mathematically, but also being able to communicate those. And that communication now is much more broad, right? And now we're doing much more of it online and so forth. Okay, a few questions. Maybe a question for Gina. I also come from a business background. I'm curious how you feel about the math and programming components of the program. I've been doing some self-learning to refresh myself on calculus, statistics, and probability, and R and Python, but I'm concerned because I didn't take a lot of math classes in college. So comments on that?
Sure. Yep. I think I was in a very similar situation. I definitely brushed up on a little bit of calculus, and honestly, didn't do very much programming at all before coming to the program. So again, back to the structure point that we made earlier, the way that the program is structured is they level set in that first semester. So doing statistics and probability, and then also the R and Python courses. So everyone kind of gets on that same page. So you may have an advanced ability or maybe not as much ability, but at least everyone has that foundational knowledge to move forward. And that's really what you need for the courses going forward, because then depending on the algorithm or the concept of each course, week, whatever it may be, they will dig into that in more detail. So each professor will help with that. And also, I was never afraid, I guess that's maybe in my personality, to reach out to professors for that, extra bit of help. Say, hey, is there something I can do to maybe fill a gap here that didn't make sense? Maybe I just missed a concept, or maybe I just don't have that background. So they were very helpful. And really just being proactive. I think it's, you definitely get out what you put in. So if you know that you're going to need that little bit of extra for that first semester, as I said, I think that was a little tough for me, just because it was kind of jumping into the deep end, because that wasn't what I did for day to day either. So just putting in that little extra effort in the beginning, you'll be just fine.
Gotcha. And a question kind of similar vein there, how hard is the math for someone without a strong math background? So I think you've kind of addressed that to some extent, but anything you would like to add to that? Any piece to?
I don't think so. I mean, we brushed up on the calculus a little bit, and I actually did not do the best in statistics in my undergraduate career. So I was pleasantly surprised when I came to this program, and we had a fabulous professor for that course, and I felt very confident moving forward, because that was actually one of the things that made me most nervous, was the statistics, for sure, having not had strong background before. So the program will definitely help you through that.
Gotcha. How long is the typical course/class? Is it a 3-hour session twice a week? So do either of you want to address that and talk about what the structure is like?
I'll let Olivia take that one, because it's starting to get a little hazy for me.
No worries. Yeah, it's about 1.5 hours of class on Monday, and then another 1.5 hours on Thursday. In terms of how much effort is needed per class, I would say if you include the entire course material and everything for both classes, and sometimes they'll take 2 classes, and sometimes it'll be 1 class for the entire semester, and then another class for half the semester, and then another class for the rest of that half semester. So 3 classes in total, but 2 at the same time. Then I would say I probably spend about 12 hours on classwork a week. And then when there's exams or projects due, I'll definitely be spending a little bit more that week, but it's definitely very manageable. And it takes into account that a lot of people, or almost everyone in the program, has a full-time job on top of all of this.
Let's see. what are your favorite or least favorite classes in the program?
Ooh.
And you both are beyond my classes, so you don't have to worry about offending me.
I don't know if I necessarily had a favorite because to me, all of it was pretty new. I really like storytelling. I think that's something that's very underrated in data science nowadays because a lot of people just focus so much on the math and the algorithm, and obviously that is a huge portion of it in programming, but being able to tell someone what you're doing that doesn't have a technical background, I think that's a huge portion, and the program takes that to heart and makes sure we can do that. And that, of course, is in the capstone as well, but there is a specific data storytelling class. So yeah, I think all of them are great, but I'm more on the communication side of things.
Olivia, do you want to address that at all?
Definitely. One of my favorite classes was statistical learning because we got to learn about things like image recognition or data compression, which was really, really interesting. And I plead the fifth on my least favorite class because I think really every class has something to offer. It's just how interested are you in that subject?
Yeah, that's a great point. And what you've used before and maybe what's new. So maybe it's not necessarily what you didn't like, but what was difficult, I think might be.
A couple of other quick ones here. Just quickly, what programming languages are used primarily in the program? I'll quickly take that one. We use both R and Python in the program and teach those specifically, but we do also expose students to some other technologies. Our philosophy on this is that we want you to be prepared to use a variety of tools. So we want you to be able to look at things and say, all right, this is good. This technology is good for this aspect of data science. This one's good for this other aspect of data science, and recognize that no one single tool is the solution to everything. Let's see. What was the return on investment from the program like for you? So now, Olivia, you're still technically in the program, but Gina, you're out now. Did you want to address that?
I can't believe it's been a year out, Roger. Time flies after having fun. Yeah, I think for me, I'm using data within my current position. So I'm still in a training and kind of facilitation place. So I'm able to talk about data in a much more in-depth manner with our data teams as I work on kind of the performance agency side, so a lot of data agencies. But I think for me, like learning the language of data is invaluable, and having these connections. I mean, I still go back to professors every now and then to ask questions or career advice, and I'm still very close with the group that I graduated with. We jokingly said we'll have to get together on a class day recently and had a little reunion, and we all still chat with each other. I learned so much from them and their industries because they're so different from mine, you know, banking or higher education or technology. So I learned so much from them and expanding my network that it's just invaluable, honestly.
Just quickly here, another one. I noticed that all students took the same courses. What is your opinion on taking the exact same classes with the exact same students, i.e. the cohort? Did you like it?
Yeah, do you want to take that one, Olivia?
Yeah, I really loved it a lot. I thought it was very helpful because that way I got to know my classmates. We were able to help each other out online and via all the portals and tools the program provides. And I really enjoyed being able to go through that with that same class and the same students, because not only did the structure help me get through the program more, because I knew at the end of 2 years or 21 months, I would be done with the program, but also, like Gina mentioned earlier, having it in that specific sequence really helped build on the material. So I really appreciate it. I thought it was a great addition.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're really running out of time here. So unfortunately, we didn't get to all the questions. We will reach out to you with answers to those questions. And I do want to stress that if you have other questions or you'd just like to chat with us and find out more about the program, you can connect with us in a variety of ways. email, website. You can text us. You can reach us on all the social media platforms and so forth. We do want to thank our guests today, Olivia and Gina, for telling us about their experiences. It's been great, and I do really appreciate it. You guys are always great, and we will have to send you a thank you swag of some type in the near future. Again, if you do have questions, please reach out to us. We do want to answer those for you. I would like to thank everyone in the audience who has joined us today, and we will see you soon.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.
Thank you.
Irish.